Welcome back to the Great Man Podcast. It's been a while, but today we're going to be talking about the frontiersman that could just not be stopped, no matter what. Hugh Glass. Glass was born in 1783 in Scranton, Pennsylvania, to Irish parents, and we don't know much about his early life, which is very, very common among these great men on the channel. We don't know much about their early life, and I think that's mostly because all the cool stuff they did was later in life. But somehow, it is said that he was allegedly captured by pirates in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Texas in 1816. He was a pirate for 2 years and then escaped by swimming back to shore, back to Texas. Then, he was later said to be captured by the Pawnee tribe and lived with them for many years. He lived with them until 1821 when he went to the tribe to St. Louis, Missouri to meet with U.S. authorities. Then, in 1823, Hugh Glass and General William Henry Ashley traveled to a fur trading camp that Ashley had set up back in 1822, just a year before, when he posted an advertisement in the Missouri Gazette and Public Advertiser. In that advertisement, Ashley called for 100 men to ascend the Missouri River to start fur trading. Now, some of the more famous men that joined General Ashley's expedition were James Beckwourth, David Jackson, William Sublett, Jim Bridger, Thomas Fitzpatrick, James Kleiman, and Jedediah Smith. In June of 1823, Hugh Glass and Ashley joined the men that had set up camp in 1822. And basically, as soon as they got there, on June 2nd, they were attacked by the Arikara tribe, and during this attack, Glass was shot in the leg, but they managed to escape downriver on a boat. And Glass actually wrote a letter to some of the parents of John S. Gardner, a man who was killed on June 2nd, 1823. He said, "Sir, my painful duty it is to tell you of the death of your son, who befell at the hands of the Indians, 2nd June in early morning. He died a little while after he was shot, and asked me to inform you of his sad fate. We brought him to the ship when he soon died." Mr. Smith, a young man of our company, made a powerful prayer who moved us all greatly, and I am persuaded John died in peace. His body we buried with others near this camp and marked the grave with a log. His things we will send to you. The savages are greatly treacherous. We traded with them as friends, but after a great storm of rain and thunder, they came to us before light, and many were hurt. I myself was shot in the leg. Master Ashley is bound to stay in these parts till the traitors are rightly punished. Eventually, Glass and the rest of the Ashley party made their way back to Fort Kiowa to reassemble before heading west. Ashley's companion, Andrew Henry, had joined the group, and together with Glass and a few other people, they traveled overland to the Yellowstone River. Glass surprised and disturbed a mother grizzly bear with 2 cubs while searching for wildlife for the expedition near the forks of the Grand River, which is close to the modern Shade Hill Reservoir in Perkins County, South Dakota. He was gravely injured as the bear charged, snatched him up, bit, slashed, and tore at his flesh before dropping him to the ground. Glass was severely mauled, yet he was still able to kill the bear with the aid of his trapping party. And obviously, rightly so, the men believed that Glass would not make it through his wounds. In order to care for Glass before he passed away, Henry called for 2 volunteers, which happened to be John S. Fitzgerald and a man known as Bridges, and they were meant to stay with him until he died and then bury him in a grave. However, Fitzgerald claimed that they were once again attacked by the Arikara tribe, and so he took Glass's belongings, even though he was not dead yet, and just left him to die. Glass lived, but he had many severe cuts all over his body, especially on his back, and he had a broken leg. But Glass decided he wanted to live. So he put his leg back in place, put a bearskin over himself, and started crawling 200 miles back to the Kiowa fort. And to prevent gangrene, he let maggots eat away at his dead, infected flesh. Glass ended up crawling to the Cheyenne River, where he constructed a rudimentary raft and sailed downriver to Fort Kiowa. Using Thunder Butte as a reference for navigation, he traveled for 6 weeks, surviving on only roots and berries. Once Glass made it to Fort Kiowa, he resumed his search for Fitzgerald and Bridges after he was healed. It was said that all of them were at Fort Henry, so he went to look there, but no one was there. It was completely desolate. All he found was a note from Andrew Henry saying that they had all moved to a camp at the mouth of the Bighorn River. There was actually one person that Glass did find, and that was Bridges. And he wanted to kill Bridges. He really did, but then he forgave him for his youth, and he understood that he did not know what happened. And after that, Glass re-enlisted in Ashley's company. Later, Glass found out that Fitzgerald was stationed at Fort Atkinson in Nebraska, and he wanted to find him and kill him. This was until he found out that the army captain would have killed him for killing a soldier, which Fitzgerald was a soldier, so he didn't really want to die. Glass did not want to die, but he told Fitzgerald that if he ever left the army, he was going to kill him. It was also said that Fitzgerald was forced to return the rifle that he had stolen from Glass, and that Glass was also given $300 as compensation, which at the time would have been a lot of money, but I don't think it's very good compensation for being mauled by a grizzly bear and being left for dead and having to crawl 200 miles back to civilization. But I guess they thought it was. Then, in 1833, Glass and his fellow trappers were killed by a group of Arikara Indians on the Yellowstone River. Now, if you have seen the movie The Revenant, it is a fantastic movie, but I think you can tell now that the endings are very different and different parts of the story are different, but overall it's the same thing. And if you haven't seen that movie, you definitely should watch it. So what makes Hugh Glass a great man? Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think that one thing is that a man should know what he wants. And Hugh Glass definitely knew what he wanted. And also, he was not going to let anything stop him. He wanted to find Fitzgerald and kill him. And so he was willing to, after being mauled by a grizzly bear, crawl 200 miles back to civilization to heal, then find Fitzgerald again to kill him. I think another thing about great men is that they live lives that are hard to believe. And I think it was easier to live these sorts of lives back then. It's not like he chose to be a pirate or he chose to be captured by Pawnee Indians, but I think there was a lot more opportunity for adventure then than there is now. And I think a lot of that is also due to the fact that so much was undiscovered and unexplored in America. But Glass didn't leave everything up to chance. He also took charge, and like I said, he knew what he wanted, not just in the case of killing Fitzgerald, but also he knew what he wanted in his life. And so he went after it. He wanted to be a trapper, he wanted to be a fur trader, he wanted to be an explorer and a hunter. And he did all of those things. So yeah, that is Hugh Glass. It's good to finally make a video again. It's been 8 months since I've made a video, but I think it was time. So, another great man, a very tough man. Imagine being mauled by a grizzly bear and then crawling your way back 200 miles to civilization. That would be very difficult. And most people would not be able to do it, that's for sure. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.